Welcome to the Great Basin Smoke Dispersion Briefing for Friday, February 7th. Over the last 30 days, we've seen precipitation again over the northern half to two-thirds of the Great Basin, and areas across Idaho into far northern Nevada and the higher terrain of Utah have seen above normal precipitation, where most areas have seen below normal precipitation. Further south over southern Nevada and parts of the Arizona Strip into southwest Utah have not seen any precipitation in the last 30 to 60 days. Looking at the snowfall over the last 72 hours, we did have a cold front move through the Great Basin, brought new snowfall to the higher terrain of central Idaho, into eastern Idaho and Wyoming, and the higher terrain of the northern Utah mountains. Our snow depth is the image on the right. Most of it is tied to the high elevations. And looking at how this relates to normal, we are seeing near to above normal snowpack over much of Utah, into northern Arizona and also Wyoming, and parts of Idaho and northern Nevada. Other areas of central Idaho into the Sierra are seeing below normal or near normal snowpack, especially over the central Sierra and northern Sierra is where snowpack is most below normal. Looking at the evaporative demand drought index, no significant areas of drought across the west. The satellite image from this morning shows that northwesterly flow behind the cold front that moved through the Great Basin, so still seeing cooler conditions and some breezy winds over the eastern half of the region, along with cloud cover and some showers. Looking at the pattern for later today, again, those showers will continue on the lighter fashion over parts of Idaho into Wyoming and eastern Utah. We'll also see some breezy winds over far southern areas and in the higher terrain of parts of Utah. However, dispersion will remain generally poor across the Great Basin. You can see where those stronger winds are over the central Utah mountains up into western Wyoming, parts of Idaho, and even parts of southern Nevada. Most gusts in the higher terrain will be gusting between about 30 and 40 miles per hour. Mixing heights will remain moderate to high over the eastern half of the Great Basin and much lower over western Nevada into the Sierra. On Saturday, we have another cold front dropping south into northern Idaho, so most of the Great Basin will still remain warm with an increase in winds, especially over the northern half of Nevada into Idaho, which is where dispersion will be highest. We'll also start to see some cloud cover and showers move into central Idaho throughout the day on Saturday. Again, winds will be strongest over the northern half of the Great Basin, most wind gusts between about 30 and 40 miles per hour over the northern half of the region, and mixing heights will be increasing region-wide. The cold front will sweep through the northern half of the Great Basin Saturday into Sunday, so you will see a significant drop in temperatures, where temperatures will drop up to 15 to 20 degrees or more over the northern half of the Great Basin on Sunday. Also, winds will be shifting to the northeast and be gusty across all areas of the Great Basin, with the strongest winds just out ahead or near the front over the southern half of the region. So again, those winds strongest over the southern half of the Great Basin by Sunday afternoon, and also very strong in the Sierra. We will see most gusts between 30 and 40 miles per hour, but we will see some areas gusting above 50 miles per hour. Mixing heights will remain very high over the southern areas and much lower further north across Idaho and Wyoming behind the cold front. Looking at the forecast clearing index for Utah, clearing indices will generally remain moderate across the region as winds will be gradually increasing through the weekend. We also see some areas of high clearing indices tied to where the stronger winds will be over the higher terrain and also over southern Utah by Sunday. Precipitation amounts will remain heaviest in the central Utah or central Idaho mountains over into western Wyoming and northern Utah, with much lighter precipitation elsewhere across the Great Basin. By Monday, this cold front will sweep through all areas of the Great Basin and move into Arizona. We will see gusty north to northwest winds behind the cold front, so we will still see good dispersion over much of Nevada into the Arizona Strip and the southern half of Utah, with poor dispersion further north. On Tuesday, we will see high pressure start to build off the west coast. So after a drop in temperatures for a day or so again as the cold front sweeps through, we will see temperatures gradually warming with drier conditions through the middle of the week. Also, we will see winds start to decrease on Tuesday across the region. High pressure remains off the west coast on Wednesday. We will see a weak front sweep through the northern Rockies, so we will see a slight increase in winds over the eastern and northern half of the Great Basin, improving dispersion but still keeping conditions generally on the dry side. Thursday, the ridge starts to weaken a little bit as a stronger cold front starts to move into the Pacific Northwest. And looking at precipitation, taking us from Monday morning through Wednesday, again, we will see precipitation over the southern portion of the Great Basin finally as that cold front sweeps through, Probably won't see any very heavy amounts. Most of the heavier amounts will be into Arizona and Southern California, but the far southern tip of the Great Basin may see some decent showers at least. And in these areas that have been very dry, it's all definitely needed. Also some lighter precipitation in the far north. Looking at the 8 to 14 day outlook, taking us from February 14th through the 20th, looking at generally below normal temperatures and drier conditions over much of the Great Basin, with those wetter conditions over the eastern half of the region. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back on Monday for the latest updates.